In tonight's featured segment, we begin a two-part series on seriously ill foster children. Because these youngsters have no home to go to, many of them are growing up in hospitals. Because of their age, the children's faces have been hidden to protect their identities. Joyce Miller reports.
Are you going to hold me?
Wheelchair-bound Sarah is only 5 years old. She spent all of her life so far living in hospitals. From her chin down, her small body is paralyzed. She needs a tracheotomy to help her breathe. Doctors say since her condition is stable, she could be living outside of a hospital with a parent trained to care for her. But her mother is unable to cope with Sarah's medical needs. She's left her here in a hospital ward until appropriate arrangements can be found.
We do our best, but it really is inadequate for the kids. They don't even know what a mother and father is, basically. They have about 15 mothers and 15 fathers. They change shifts as each nursing shift comes and goes.
We're talking about children who are nearly normal, if not completely normal, from a cognitive standpoint.
Sarah's case is not that unusual. As technology improves, more and more infants are surviving with severe medical disorders that may require leaving them permanently hooked up to machines. If they have no home to go back to and are mentally retarded, they can be shifted to state institutions. But if they're mentally alert, their home may be in a hospital.
Eddie was almost placed in an institution, but the hospital didn't want to do that. And they were looking for a place to put him, so they asked us.
How long has he been in the hospital?
He's been in the hospital all his life, 22 months.
Until 1983, children like these might have been considered good candidates for foster care homes. Now they will more than likely become one of the estimated 1,300 so-called border babies living in California's hospitals.
They're kids that need a lot of care, and if we have a family behind these kids, we can get them home. But children that are caught without a family that can support them and take them home are left in a hospital without any place to go.
Because of insurance and other considerations, the state has decided it will not cover the cost of these kids in foster homes, but will pay for them indefinitely if they stay in hospitals. The result is that these children may never experience a real home.
Our department, by statute, is not allowed to provide substantial medical care to a child. If we did that, we would be out of compliance with the law.
But staying within the law, Wright concedes, neither deals with the children's social needs nor the state's budget. Dr. Cheryl Liu works with the medically fragile at Children's Hospital.
It's rather paradoxical, in fact, because right now, given the fact that the state doesn't feel these children should go into foster homes, the state also recognizes it has no facilities available to house these children, so they do, in the meantime, pay for intensive care for these children to remain in hospitals.
Hospital officials say that care can cost up to $2,000 a day, nearly 4 times the cost of in-home care.
In most cases, in a general sense, it's true that placement in a medical facility is more expensive, definitely.
To resolve the debate over whether the state should pay for medical foster care, the government has assigned a task force to study the issue. Meanwhile, it appears the hospitals will remain the guardians of children like Sarah, with nowhere to go.
It's hard watching Sarah grow up. We all love her very, very much, but it's hard watching these children grow up and seeing what they're missing.
In Los Angeles, this is Joyce Miller.
Growing up in hospitals was not always the fate of seriously ill foster children. Until recently, many of these kids were placed in foster families. Tomorrow night, we'll visit one of these special homes. For 7:30, I'm Tom Thompson. Good night.
It is a realm of
Family that's providing this very special care. Joyce Miller reports. With a plug and a kiss, Leslie Peterson prepares 4-year-old Terry for her afternoon nap. Across the room, her brother Danny gets his tracheotomy suctioned so his airways are cleared before he sleeps. There's an oxygen unit, ventilators, and a machine that tracks Danny's heartbeat while he sleeps.
So it's life-saving.
The technology resembles that in an intensive care unit, but this room is in a home with a family, and the bulk of the intensity here is in loving.
You know their basic problems, so you watch out for those problems, but you stimulate them just like you would anybody else. You talk to them, You love them. You take them to the zoo. You take them to wherever you're going. Father in heaven, we thank you for this food.
If awards were handed out for ability to give, certainly Leslie and Bruce Peterson would be among the winners. Within the past 5 years, they have added 3 new faces to their already full table. Each child was taken home with severe medical problems, though no mental disabilities. Each had parents who were either unable or unwilling to care for their medical needs, and each had been doomed to grow up in a hospital or state institution.
Eric, we got at 2.5 months. He was premature, birth asphyxiation, lung disease, ventricular septal defect, a very small hole in his heart.
And they said that he was going to be going to an institution, that he was blind and retarded to a state of vegetation.
Though his prognosis was poor, the Petersons packed Eric's hospital bag and took him home. Soon they discovered he was neither blind nor retarded. Rather, he was deaf. For Bruce and Leslie, having a house full of medically fragile children is a 24-hour job that must be complemented with the help of nighttime nurses.
Danny and Terry
One more.
and Eric, the first year or 2 years that we had them, we had, out of a 365-day year, we were at the hospital 339 days between the three of them.
It's a remarkable family. They are not put off by complexity in machines. They look at each child as an individual, as a child who deserves a childhood.
Dr. Cheryl Liu is part of a team of physicians and social workers at Children's Hospital that helps place seriously ill children without homes into foster care. She also trains the parents how to deal with respirators, ventilators, colostomies, specialized diets, and so on in the home.
These children aren't released from the hospital, until you thoroughly know their care and treatment.
Experts say that maintaining a child in a foster care home is about 1/4 the price of round-the-clock hospital care. It's also better for the child.
Even if they require home ventilator care at night while they're asleep, can go to school during the daytime, can learn to read and write.
Despite benefits of a home setting, 4 years ago, the state issued a moratorium on placing medically fragile children in foster homes. And while its governmental task force debates whether the state has the mandate to place these kids in homes, certain children are in limbo, living here in hospital wards, instead of here with parents who love them. In Los Angeles, this is Joyce Miller.